Good morning, everybody. This is Virgil from Extinction Rebellion. This morning's protest is a collaboration of different groups: Extinction Rebellion, Women of Colour, Global Women's Strike, and Global Justice Rebellion have prevented access to the arms factory that produces equipment, including tear gas, rubber bullets, in a factory that's owned by PWP Group. Up in the Midlands, which is now being blocked. We're now on our way in central London to the Department of International Trade, the government department that is responsible for the arms license. We'll be calling for the end of the manufacture of the export use of tear gas and rubber bullets that is made in the United Kingdom. So we're having two protests simultaneously at the same time. We've got Indigo, who's up in Derbyshire. We'll be switching over very shortly. So just to let you know that the UK is the second largest arms exporter and is one of the leading arms exporters for tear gas, rubber bullets that have been used very recently in Hong Kong protests and protests in the United States in over 100 cities. The UK has a license to export CS grenades. A bit noisy up here. The United Kingdom has a license to export CS grenades to 49 countries in various forms of crowd control ammunition. So the likes that we've seen in the Black Lives Matter protests, they've been using tear gas and rubber bullets extensively. There's been people who've been losing their vision, losing their eyesight.
Good morning, everyone. We're here in Derby this morning, and we've stopped this factory manufacturing tear gas and rubber bullets for today at least. You can see here we have someone on a tripod, and we have two people locked onto the gates here, and we've been here since 5 AM and the car park is empty and there are some police here as well. So we're here because this factory, PW Defence, manufactures tear gas and rubber bullets, and they're being exported to the USA to be used against Black Lives Matter protesters, and exported to Hong Kong to be used against the pro-democracy protesters. And the UK government and the Department for International Trade it's licensing these exports. This company is profiting from the suffering and the oppression of peaceful protesters, and it needs to stop. The government should stop exports and stop manufacturing. So would anyone be willing to say why they're here today? Right. So, hi. So you've locked onto the front gates here. Do you like to say why you've?
Yeah, I'll try and speak up for the mask. I think the British government and the British state are a real key player in the global arms trade, which is a moral atrocity. Um, if it wasn't for the British state's facilitation of a lot of the violent repression that goes on around the world, we'd be in quite the awful situation we are. The fact that we've continued to sell weapons to like the worst human rights abuses in the world, like the Saudi Arabian state, and now looking at that's selling weapons of war, but now also selling weapons that are used to internally repress the nation's own citizens. Like we're seeing the like shocking levels of brutality in the US in the wake of the protests there, and it's people have so little idea. Like I think no one really knew this place was here. I think even a lot of people who live in the area don't really know what's going on here. I think it's really, really important to bring these things to light because I think the Scottish government recently voted to suspend, for now ban exports of rubber bullets and tear gas, which should hopefully put a lot of pressure on the government in Westminster to do the same. Obviously not as yet, but I think this is why actions like this are so important to put that pressure on and bring these dealings that are so often like deliberately shrouded in obscurity and secrecy into the light so that people actually do know what's going on, because I think a lot of people would be pretty outraged to find out that it is British manufactured weapons that are being used to commit these awful acts of violence against protesters all around the world. So I think that's why it's really important that we're here, and the other actions are going on that are doing the same thing.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks. So you can see here we've got some umbrellas as well. This is inspired by the Hong Kong protesters.
They used them like that so that the tear gas moved over them, didn't they, in the protest?
Yeah.
So that's why we have umbrellas, and it's not because we live in Britain and it'll probably rain.
We're also using them so that we don't trip over the wires here for the tripod. So, how are you doing up there?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. We're in good spirits.
You've been up there from quite early, haven't you?
Yeah, we got here about 5 a.m. So, morning really, but it feels like we've been here for ages.
Yeah, it does.
Gas. And this is where the license come from.
Hi. So we're protesting the repression that is made in England because the tear gas and rubber bullets, which are used to repress protesters in other parts of the world, are manufactured here in Derby. It's probably just one of many factories, but the Scottish government has brought in a ban and the English government should do the same. So, hi.
Hiya.
So why are you here today? Why is this important to you?
It's important to like draw attention to these things that are happening because they're happening all over the UK. There's people manufacturing arms, and the companies that manufacture these things, they are profiting off selling this equipment to different police forces around the world who are using the stuff to clamp down on people and to stop their protest and to stop the uprisings and to stop people like trying to get their basic human rights met. So people are going out because we have a human right to go out. We have freedom of speech to say we've got a different political opinion to the regime that's in power. We want to express this, and instead of just being able to stand in the streets and come out with children, come out if they have disabilities, people can't because they may be shot at with rubber bullets. They maybe have tear gas grenades chucked at them to disperse the people. They're doing it in migrant camps as well. And I think the thing that we have to think is that under the Geneva Convention, the CS gas that they use, that's completely illegal. You cannot use that in warfare, but you are allowed to use it just in normal times against your civilians. So why is something that's banned because of the Chemical Weapons Act in warfare allowed to be used by police just on the streets when they're doing raids, when they're breaking refugee camps, when they're like, why is that allowed? I think that's why we're here, to just say, like, this is a moment where we're like waking up all over the world to the fact that like everything that we have is built upon this sort of racist system. Well, we need to like start questioning, like, we need to tear down statues of things that have happened, but we also need to recognize the things that are happening now that we're still upholding and that we're still benefiting from. And that's basically it, because it's the government who need to stop licensing the companies, and this is one of the companies that benefits. But the companies will exist, it's not the people who work here's fault. They need to work, but they could be doing all sorts of other jobs. They could be manufacturing wind turbines here. It's a high-tech place with high-skilled people, but instead they're manufacturing this beep. So that's why we're here, to say the government needs to stop licensing them. These things exist everywhere. No more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just profit before human rights yet again. So we need to switch on around.
The poppies. That's
Have the police there? They've been back and forth this morning, but nothing has happened yet. And we've had people under the tripod and locked on since 5 a.m. and this car park would usually be full of vehicles, but we successfully blockaded this area and no people have come to work today. So like we said, we don't want to put people out of work. The factory could be repurposed into something better social and ecological need, but manufacturing weapons to use against citizens which are democratically protesting is the wrong thing to be manufacturing. My phone just told me my data is running very low, so I may be cut out at any moment. So hopefully we've been able to show you what's happening here today, and I hope that that with all the protests happening today, that the government will listen and ban the export of these awful weapons.
So I'm not going to talk very long, so I'm not very eloquent, but I'll just talk a bit about why we're here today. So I think we're all here because we've seen the videos, we've seen the photos from America, we've seen the police violence, the police repression, we've seen people shot with rubber bullets, we've seen peaceful protesters gassed. That's not just happening in America, it's happening in Hong Kong, it's happening all over the world. And the thought that British factories are making those weapons and British government departments like this one are licensing the export of those weapons, knowing full well
The way they're being used is an absolute disgrace and it needs to stop. So we're here today as a collaboration of Global Justice Rebellion, Extinction Rebellion, and Women of Colour Global Women's Strike to protest today and to demand that this manufacturing, this export needs to stop. So you may already have seen photos of this, but this morning at a factory near Derby, which manufactures rubber bullets and tear gas, activists this morning have blockaded the factory. They've locked themselves in the gate. So no rubber bullets are being made as we speak, and that is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. And we are here in parallel with them, in solidarity with them, outside the government department that licenses the export of those weapons. We're here to say to the government, to the ministers that run this, we have had enough and they cannot keep on doing this because it's an absolute disgrace and it's a shame. It should shame all of us that we allow this to happen. I'm not going to say any more, but we've got some good speakers to talk about this. So first, welcome Sarah from Women of Colour Global Women's Strike. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. So we're here for Haiti too. We can't forget Haiti. And I mention them in particular because people often think, well, Haiti's just a poor country in the middle of nowhere. But that's our history. That's what's given us the strength for struggles like this. And that's going right back. The Black Lives Matter movement goes right back to Haiti, right back to Africa, to everywhere in the world. So we're demanding that we get a care income. Instead of arms, instead of killing, instead of militaries, take that money. Give women, give mothers, give carers, give everybody who looks after people, the planet, the environment. Give us a care income and we will defend ourselves. And I just wanted to make one more point that we're outside the Department of Trade and Industry, and we're calling out every government that's trading in violence. We're also saying that refugees and asylum seekers are escaping that violence, are having to flee across the Mediterranean, put their lives in danger. And those people have every right to be here. Those are our people. And they must have freedom of movement and safety. And we're calling out the war and armed conflict that's driving so many people to have to flee their home countries. And we have to call out the corporations, because the corporations, the greedy, thieving, murderous corporations are there plundering our home countries. And we are here to collect. We have been working for 500 years. So we're here to get our money, our health, our protection, and our right. And together we can do it. Thank you, everybody.
Anyone got any chance? Oh, I know. Power to the people. Power to the people. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Tell me, can you feel it? Stronger by the hour. Stronger by the hour. Power. Power. People. 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 Power. Power to the people. Power to the people. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Getting stronger by the hour. Stronger by the hour. Power. Power. People. 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 Power. Power. Power to the people. Power to the people. People got the power. People got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Getting stronger by the hour. Stronger by the hour. Power. People. 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 Power to the people. People got the power. Okay. Power to the people. People got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Getting stronger by the hour.
Anyone else want to speak?
There you go.
I've run out of work. Can
Yeah.
we get some more drumming? That'll be all right.
Yeah, just tell him. Yeah. Have you never done? You know, have you smoked the loop? What's that? This is the link. What's your name again? It's Sean. Sean. Yeah. So in case you're just joining us now, we're in the front of the Department of International Trade in central London. where we have protesters from several different organisations in solidarity to the oppression from excessive forces of police around the world. We've seen recently in what's been happening in Hong Kong and with the Black Lives Matter movement in the States, where over 100 cities have been using excessive force, using tear gas, using rubber bullets, and different ways of controlling the crowd, all using weapons that are manufactured here in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is the second largest exporter of arms in the world. It's a growing industry. Rubber bullets were actually invented here in the United Kingdom to oppress people in Northern Ireland. And so far in the States, rubber bullets have been responsible for blinding quite a lot of people. Also, tear gas. There's several different forms of tear gas that's been used, which is actually banned by the Geneva Convention in war. So you're not allowed to use chemical weapons yet. They're allowed to use it for oppressing protesters. So we're here, we're making a lot of noise in front of the Department for International Trade. We're letting them loud and clear that we know what you're doing is not right, it's not acceptable, and we want you to stop harming oppression around the world. We want you to use your skills for, you can use your skills for other things. Every year, every 2 years, it's the largest arms fair in the world. It is organised from Putney Bridge as a department set up, and they go and they run an arms trade in the Excel Centre, where they invite people in countries from countries that are on the UN watch list to come and buy arms. It really is like the who's who. We also have done recent trade deals with Saudi Arabia, where British-made military is being used for bombing Yemen. Just to remind you, the UK has the license to export CS grenades to 49 countries and various forms of crowd control ammunition to 65 countries, including Hong Kong, Chile, and the US. At the same time, we have a protest going on at the same time as the PwC group, which is part of Gembering Defence UK. It's going to give you some more shocking facts. In 2017, UK won defence orders worth 9 billion, which is up from the previous year, 5.9 billion. So this illustrates the volatile nature of the global export market. The UK share of global defence exports was estimated at 12% in 2017. UK's largest defence export markets were the Middle East, North America, and Europe. And as I was saying, and I think you still hear me, talk about tear gas and warfare, as with all other chemical weapons, was prohibited by the Geneva Protocol in 1925. Yeah, that's right, 1925. It prohibited the use of asphyxiating gases or any other kind of gas, liquids, or substance or similar materials.
Hi, so we're here in Derby Derby. We've successfully stopped tear gas and bullets being manufactured today. We blockaded the entrance to this factory at 5 a.m. this morning. There's a tripod set up and 2 lock-ons. So,
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So why are you here today?
I'm here for several reasons. First and foremost, obviously, to highlight the injustices of the injustice of police brutality and oppression of peaceful protests that happens through the manufacturing and distribution and sales of arms around the world. Specifically in this factory, tear gas and rubber bullets and riot gear is made and distributed to countries that do not allow their citizens to peacefully assemble and protest against the very system that is keeping them oppressed. So police brutality, the murder of George Floyd caused a ripple effect across the world, and we saw millions of people out on the streets, but specifically in the United States of America, those peaceful protesters were kind of flattened by kind of the heavy fist of the arms industry that basically means that they were under threats of rubber bullets and tear gas even when they were legally and peacefully protesting. And also just kind of more locally is that this factory isn't known about. No one knows it's here, and we should be able to have transparency and accountability when it comes down to such a murderous system and process such as arms manufacturing. That it shouldn't be hidden away and it shouldn't be kept secret, and it shouldn't be protected by miles and miles of fencing around in what would be quite beautiful countryside. This is a protected bit of land, and if the UK government is so insistent on providing arms and distributing arms and granting licenses to countries that will suppress their citizens, then they need to be open and transparent about it, and they need to be held accountable for that. And that's why I think it's really important that we have to be here to highlight the fact that after the Scottish government voted to ban the sales or stop the sales of arms such as rubber bullets and tear gas, the UK government didn't act on that. They just sent their thoughts and prayers, which is effectively as much as giving the people who are being oppressed the middle finger. They haven't sort of acted in any urgency at all to stop the manufacturing of things inside this factory. And also, local people deserve long-lasting and healthy jobs that will provide for themselves and the community indefinitely. And arms manufacturing is not one of those jobs. We've just come out where we're still not even reached the peak of a global pandemic, which is worsened, by inequalities and inequalities that affect specifically BAME communities in this country and in the United States. The UK government also failed to release that. So these issues are very interconnected, given the fact that people are around the world, specifically Black people in the United States, are being oppressed. They are the most affected by COVID, disproportionately affected by COVID. They are repressed, their rights to protest are repressed when they highlight the fact that this happens. And even here in Derbyshire in the UK, that's where it all where this all comes together, and that's why we have to highlight the fact that it can't happen anymore. If we're going to live in a green, healthy world that allows for people to have happy and healthy jobs, this has to be reused. This has to be rethought of. We have to rethink how we use our resources and our energies in society, because if it go, we can't have peace if we're going to be making weapons that are made for destruction. That's common sense, really. And even though it says defense in the name, the US is using it on civilians in their own country. They are defending white supremacy, and they are defending a racist state, and they're defending a system that is killing people every single day. So PW defense might sound like it's defending, the baddies against the goodies, but actually it's a defense against a system that will lead to the extinction of our civilization and the extinction of our species if we boil it down to that. So that's why we're here.
Thank you. That was very well put. Yeah, this factory should be repurposed so that
Reclaimed
for the
community.
Yeah, it should be put to social and ecological good, and tear gas and rubber bullets have no part in that world.
Thank you, live streamer.
Thank you. I think we're going to go back to London soon.
Well done, London.
Yeah, well done, London. Thank you, everyone in London.
Hello. In case you've just joined us, we're in front of the Department of International Trade here in central London, where we've been having speeches from several different organisations. We've all come together to highlight the oppression that's going on, caused by this building behind us, who is sanctioning and supporting international trade in weapons. The arms trade is dominated by 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council: China, France, Russia, US, and the United Kingdom. Also along with Germany and Israel. So between them, there's about 3/4 of the arms exporters in the world. And we're here making a lot of noise. We're telling them what's happening in countries where they're selling weapons to police forces. We've seen what's been going on in the States with Black Lives Matter, with the tear gas and the rubber bullets that's being used excessively. And we're saying that it's simply not good enough. There's a lot of confusion about the legality of arms trade, and it's is it illegal? Is it damaging? What are they allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? What's acceptable? So there's a lot of very, very grey areas. We've heard that about the gas that they use, the CS gas, is not allowed in warfare, but you're allowed to use this in police forces. And it's not being used the way that they're intending it to be used. It's being used excessively. So the UK arms buyers on the Foreign Office list of countries with the most serious wide-ranging human rights concerns consists of countries such as Afghanistan, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Central African Republic, China, Colombia, Egypt, Iraq, Israel, Myanmar, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, South Sudan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and being used in Yemen, sold to Yemen. So it's a pretty extensive list. Further to that, there's another 65 countries where they're supplying military grade equipment for oppressing protesters. So shutting down the arms factory up in Derbyshire is sending a loud, clear message. What they're doing is simply not good enough. I'm going to walk back out here so you can see this. We've got another speaker here.
Fantastic! This is what we look like when we come together as a movement. Yeah. I wanted to make a couple of points that were raised earlier about the police.
And it might well be that there are some individual police who are on our side, you know, and want something different. But we're dealing with a police force that was labelled institutionally racist following the Stephen Lawrence inquiry. And we cannot forget that, because so many more people, people of colour, immigrant people, working class people, have been killed at the hands of the British police. This is part of international repression. There isn't a lot of difference. For Sean Rigg, Mark Duggan, Ian Tomlinson, Jean-Charles de Menezes, come on. We have to remember our people who lost their lives. And we don't forget that. And we don't forget when the bullets and the rubber bullets and the tear gas and the water cannons are used against peaceful protesters. And the people in the US are not going to, they're not ready to thank the police that stood with a knee in the neck of George Floyd for 8 minutes and 36 seconds. These are the realities of Black lives globally. Our sisters in the All African Women's Group, who fled as Ben and Sarah have raised before to seek asylum and protection here, have left behind loved ones who are being slaughtered as police forces who have the bullets and have the tear gas and have the guns supplied by this country, one of the biggest arms traders in the world. That's not the kind of life anybody should want. And any person in a uniform worth their salt should take their bloody uniform off and be on our side, protecting lives, investing in caring, and not part of the killing machine. Thank you.
Again, in case you're just joining us, we're in front of the Department of International Trade here in central London. We've got simultaneously protests going on up north in the Midlands in Derbyshire, where a weapons factory has been blocked. So this is action today is a collaboration of several different groups all coming together. There we go.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! There you go. So I'm just going to walk back out so you can see exactly where we are here. It's quite a sight with all the multicolored umbrellas. Solidarity with the protesters in Hong Kong. We've seen shocking images of what's been happening over there with the excessive use of tear gas and rubber bullets. We're seeing the full force of militarization of police and what can happen. We've been watching what's been happening in the United States of America with over 100 cities, actually I think it's over 200 cities and towns, where they're using excessive force of rubber bullets and they're using tear gas, which is, as I mentioned earlier, it's being banned in warfare, but it's allowed to be used by police forces. And it's manufactured here in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is one of the biggest arms manufacturers in the world. It's where the rubber bullets were invented, and they're manufactured and they're exported all around the world to 65 different countries in the name of policing. So we're starting to see the heavy-handed militarization that's going on, and it's becoming acceptable. So we'll say that the United Kingdom has an obligation to stop funding oppressive regimes and stop funding countries that are causing misery to its citizens. So going to have a quick chat with you're the former leader of, or the deputy leader of the Green Party? Yeah. How comes you're here today?
Well, I came to express my solidarity with this terrific action here. I mean, it is absolutely appalling and unconscionable that the United Kingdom, and who authorised it, should be manufacturing and exporting tear gas, rubber bullets, which are systematically affecting people's right to protest. People are suffering.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming out here today. This is solidarity. This is what it looks like. I want to especially thank people from Extinction Rebellion, Women of Colour, Global Women's Strike. Thank you so much for coming out here today. I just wanted to say a little bit about why we're out here today. On May the 30th in the United States, a journalist called Linda Tirado had her eye socket shattered by a rubber bullet when protesting outside the White House for Black Lives Matter. She said, "It exploded my eyeball. My vision is gone no matter what." On the same day in Fort Wayne, 21-year-old Balin Brake lost his right eye. His mother said there is nothing left but the shell of his eye. In Hong Kong last year, Vebi Mega Inda was permanently blinded in her right eye by Hong Kong police as she was live streaming the protests. Rubber bullets inflicted all this damage. Rubber bullets were invented here in the UK. They were invented here to use in Northern Ireland, where they killed 22 people. These are not less than lethal weapons. Taking the knee. It's not ended with people like Boris Johnson and Dominic Raab paying lip service and saying they support the idea of racial equality in theory. Systemic racism is still there when you say you support the Black Lives Matter idea, but you still arm the United States police as they permanently disable people with rubber bullets and tear gas who are peacefully protesting for their dignity as black people in the United States. Another reason why we're here is because of climate change. The arms industry is one of the biggest polluters in the world. The United States Army
emits more CO2 than 100 countries on the planet put together. In the next 50 years, over 47 countries will succumb to civil conflict due to the impacts of climate change on existing socio-economic conditions, just like in Syria. Those countries are overwhelmingly in the global south. These are overwhelmingly people of color and black people that will be impacted by climate change. And the arms industry stands to benefit from this very conflict. Systematic racism is everywhere. And the impacts of climate change on people of color is far worse than it is on other people throughout the world. And I just wanted to end on this with a message to the black people of this country. After centuries of persecution and slavery, you are still here. After racist attacks, letter bombs, arson, murders, and police beatings, you are still here. You are the inspiration that movements across the world draw from. We will stand by you, and we will stand by Black Lives Matter in your fight.
There you go. So, if you've been watching, thanks for watching today. As you've been hearing from the speeches, I hope you can hear me okay. We had some problems with the sound. So we're in front of the Department of International Trade, sending a very loud, clear message to the government that we know what they're doing. It's totally unacceptable. We're in solidarity to what's happening in countries in the United States with Black Lives Matter, and also the appalling things happening in Hong Kong. And we're calling out the government of the support of the trade that they're having of giving to the arms trade is simply not good enough. It's a growing industry. It's some of the figures is absolutely shocking. It's like absolute billions and billions and billions. So if you want to get involved, so you're watching this, you can go and you can write to your local MP to stop international arms trade. You can join one of the different organisations that have been speaking here today. We got different things happening at the end of next month as well. If you want to get involved. So it's a big call out to everybody who is here today. The speeches that we've heard to everybody up in Derby. I'm in the way here. So I'm gonna sign off. So thank you everybody for watching today. Don't just click and like. Just get involved, do something, become more active. We've just heard there the amount of pollution that's coming from the arms industry. As climate change, the effects get worse. More and more countries are getting squeezed. They're having more problems with the police. Also with the militarization that's going on around the world. So we need to step up. We need to get everybody involved. This is a movement of movements, in solidarity with different organizations, different people who are being oppressed. So please, 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 do get involved. So I'm going to sign off. So thanks everybody for watching. Okay, thank you.